Yo, what's up YouTube? It's J-Dean, Dean of Music, and I'm back with another video with, it might be a controversial topic based off of everything that's going on right now, but it's always a lot of debate whether Drake has a definitive classic or not. A lot of people seem to debate it all the time. I see it a lot online. Kendrick even had a line on a song saying, I think it was on Not Like Us, where he was like, you have no classics. So today we're here to discuss whether Drake has a definitive classic or not.
Feeling godly when I walk through the building. I got it all from the confidence escaping my feeling. It's time to ball.
Now, when I say definitive classic, I mean a definitive classic. I'm not talking about whether just his fans think the album is a classic. I'm talking about a definitive where the whole culture deems the album as a classic. I'm talking like The Chronic by Dr. Dre, or Jay-Z's Blueprint, 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying, or Snoop Dogg Doggy Style, Tupac All Eyes on Me, Biggie Life After Death, even Lil Wayne Carter 3, or Jeezy's first album, or Juvenile 400 Degrees, or so many classics. Nas Illmatic, Mobb Deep Infamous. So I'm just here to discuss whether Drake has that definitive classic. And definitive classic, like I said, is whether people think, the culture as a whole thinks the album is a classic, because there's a lot of cult classics where just fans think it's a classic. Like, to me, Currency has a classic called The Stoned Immaculate. That album is a classic to me, but I know only Currency fans will call that album a classic, not the entire rap culture. So I'm just going through his discography to determine whether does he have a definitive classic or not. And I'm not a Drake hater. I like a lot of Drake's music. I won't say a lot, but I like a decent amount of Drake's music. I think he make great music for certain vibes, and he makes a lot of different music. But anyway, let's start with the first album, Thank Me Later, which I think gets a lot of hate for no reason. There's great songs on Thank Me Later. But do I think Thank Me Later is a classic? No, it's a lot of skips on here, but Thank Me Later has, to me, I love Fireworks. I don't know why I like that song so much. Maybe because it's the Alicia Keys singing on the chorus. I just like that song a lot. All I see is fireworks. So you got Fireworks is on there. Then you got Over. That was I think that was the first single off of the album. And then you have Up All Night with Nicki Minaj, which both of their verses are fire, by the way. And then you got Fancy. It's some drama behind Fancy, I think. Wasn't Drake and Swizz Beatz going through something and he brought up the song Fancy? But then you got Light It Up with Jay-Z. You got Miss Me with Lil Wayne, that's an amazing song. And then you got Find Your Love. Let me tell you something about Find Your Love. I didn't like Find Your Love like when it first came out in like 2009, 2010. I was too young to really understand that song fully, but when I got older, I fell in love with that song. I love that song. So I wouldn't call Thank Me Later a classic, but it has great records on there. But now let's go on to the album that a lot of his fans consider a classic, which is Take Care. Take Care, great album. It's a great album. But this is where the discussion starts with this album, because his fans love this album. I like this album a lot. Because when I first, if you would have asked me this probably last year, I would have told you, oh, Nothing Was the Same is Drake's best album. And I went through Nothing Was the Same recently just so I could be sharp while making this video. And I was like, it's a lot of songs on Nothing Was the Same that I didn't like. But Take Care has a lot of songs that I do like. It's songs that when I went back and listened to it, I was like, oh, this song is fire. Music hits you in different spaces that you in your life. So I might have not liked this song when it came out. I think this album came out 2011, 2012. I might have not liked it when I was a teenager. But now that you older, you go through certain stuff. The song is fire. But this is the album right here that sparks a lot of debate whether Drake has the classic or not. I think it's a great album. By my standards, if you watch my other video where I talk about does Jadakiss have a classic, my standards for a classic, 1 to 2 minimum skips, and can I listen to it after 5 years the same way I listened to it when it came out? This passed the years test. Like, these songs aged great on this album. The songs aged great. Some of the songs didn't age great though, like The Motto. The Motto sounds like 2011. But other than that, it's Drake's sound. Like, this is when he came into his own. Cause you know how sometimes back then the first album from an artist, like their debut albums, would be beats that the record label picked for them to what they thought would work for them, and then the second album is normally more of what they wanted to do as the artist. But Take Care is the album that's always in like the top 10 streamed albums on Spotify or any streaming services for the year. This album always gets spins because it has great records on here, like Over My Dead Body, the intro, Shot for Me, Headlines, Crew Love, Marvin's Room. Let me talk about Marvin's Room, right? Marvin's Room is probably a top 5 Drake song for me. I don't even know why, because I don't drink, so I wouldn't even act like that to call a girl drunk and be like, fuck that nigga. Fuck that nigga that you love so bad. I know you still think about all the times we had since you picked up. I know he's not around. Yeah, come on, man. That song is fire. And then you got I don't know why I don't like Underground Kings. I would have thought Underground Kings would have had Bun B on the record. It doesn't have Bun B on the record, like rapping. I would have loved for Bun B to rap on that record. And then you got We'll Be Fine with Birdman. It's cool. That song is cool. But Make Me Proud, hold on, right? Yeah. Make Me Proud with Nicki Minaj is fire. Lord Knows is fire. That beat is insane. Shout out to Just Blaze. And Drake was rapping, regardless of what you think about his ghostwriting scandal or whatever it is. Whether he's writing the verses or not, Drake's rapping ability is up there. Drake be saying some shit, that nigga be flowing. He be flowing. But then you got cameras, you know, for the camera. Then you got Doing It Wrong. I don't really like Doing It Wrong. And you got The Real Her with Andre 3000. Andre 3000 verses stupid on there. And you got Look at What You Done. And then Hell Yeah Fucking Right with Lil Wayne. When I see that song or when I hear that song, I always think of the video with Drake as a kid, the bar mitzvah, he's dancing. I seen that video a lot. Then you got Practice, which is cool. And then you got The Ride. That beat is fire, and Drake's rapping on that record. If you ever get a chance, listen to Meek Mill freestyle on The Ride. That is fire as well. But a lot of people call this a classic, and I wouldn't call it a classic. I would call it a great album, but to me, it's not a classic because I'm skipping like 4 or 5 songs on here. If I skip 4 or 5 songs, it's not a classic. It's a great album. But if I could let it play straight through without skipping anything, then it's a classic. And I love every song on the album, then it's a classic. And then this is where the debate starts with Drake having a classic. Drake fans call this shit a classic. And I'm not mad at him for calling it a classic. It's a great album, but the songs on there that I skip. And I have a theory about why people argue whether Drake has a definitive classic or not. I think with Drake is so versatile with his music style. Drake can have like 5 or 6 different genres on his album. And everybody might not like Drake when he do Afro beats, or Drake when he sings, or Drake when he do a pop record. Some people might not like Drake when he raps. Drake fans love when he do everything, as a fan would. They would love when their favorite artist does everything. But to everybody else, they don't like everything that Drake does. And the definitive classics, a lot of them that I just named, they specify in one thing. When I turn on Get Rich or Die Trying, I know 50's gonna rap. He might throw a melody or 2 in there, but it's mostly 98% rap. Drake might have a 3 or 4 song stretch where he doesn't rap at all. He's just singing. And a lot of people some people don't like him singing. I don't care if he sings or not, because Drake doesn't try to be like a Mariah Carey vocalist or a Whitney Houston vocalist. He usually stays in 1 or 2 notes and it works for him. And then that's my theory with it. I think a lot of people outside of Drake fans don't like everything that Drake does. If Drake specified in one thing on an album, it wouldn't be a Drake album if he did that. But if Drake just did a rapping album, or he'd do a straight singing album, then I think he would have had that definitive classic. But people did for damn sure call this a classic. I'm not mad if you call this a classic at all. I think it's a great album. I wouldn't have purchased the album if I didn't think it was a great album. I think that's what it is. I think Drake has that discussion because he doesn't specify in one area of the album. Drake is very versatile. Drake's gonna give you 5-6 genres on one album. Am I mad at that? Hell no, because I love versatility. I don't like just listening to an album and it sounds the same throughout the whole album. But for me, my issue with Drake sometimes is the singing songs and the substance of the singing songs. Because I love when Drake raps. I love it when Drake raps and he gets into that bag where he stretches the pen out. I love that. I like a lot of his singing records. I don't mind them. I like some of his pop records because I like a lot of different music, so I can like a lot of different Drake songs. But to an average listener, they might only just listen to rap, or they might just only listen to R&B. So when they hear Drake singing, they might be like, man, he gotta stop this singing. Or people that don't listen to rap like that would be like, oh, I don't want Drake to rap. Drake should just sing it. So I think that's why a lot of people don't give him that definitive classic. But this is the closest to me that he got to having that definitive classic. And if you completely disagree with me, you could comment. Please let me know and debate with me whether you think Drake has a definitive classic. But I went through Take Care. First of all, let's have an appreciation for this cover. This cover is fire. This cover is fire. But let's go to Nothing Was the Same, which used to be my favorite Drake album. Tuscan Leather, his best intro. Yeah, I said it. Tuscan Leather is his best intro. It's the best rapping I think Drake has ever done. The best rapping. But then you got Further Sting. It's cool. Started from the bottom. It was amazing when it came out. It sounds very outdated, but I still listen to it. Wu-Tang Forever. I still think he shouldn't have called the song Wu-Tang Forever. It doesn't sound like anything Wu-Tang would do. I understand the concept of the record, but it doesn't sound like anything that Wu-Tang would do. And I remember when I first heard this album and I saw the name Wu-Tang Forever, I was like, oh, it's gonna be like a RZA type of production. You're not getting that. You got Own It. It's cool. You got Worst Behavior, which I love. Worst. My Worst Behavior. Then you got From Time with Jhené Aiko. It's cool. Hold On, We're Going Home. That's one of Drake's biggest records. It's a great song, by the way, too. You got Connect. It's okay. The Language, fire. 305 to My City, one of my favorite records from Drake. Too Much. Let me tell y'all something. He had a performance. I don't know if it was on Jimmy Fallon. It was on one of them late night shows, or it was an award show. He performed Too Much, and the emotion that he performed on stage should have been the album version. He should have did a Common B where he switched the performance, put the performance recording on the album instead of the actual studio recording. But Too Much is fire. And then you got Pound Cake, Paris Morton Music Part 2. And I'm convinced that he put another song after Pound Cake because Hove went crazy on there. But Pound Cake is such a smooth beat with no hi-hat. It's just a drum and a kick, and that thing is moving. But that album is great too. Nothing Was the Same is great too. But I'm not calling Nothing Was the Same a classic because I just named you about 4 or 5 songs that I didn't like on that album. So to me, that isn't a classic either. If you're reading this, it's too late. I don't really like that album. I ain't gonna lie. He called this a mixtape when it first came out, right? But I'm not going through this because this is to me after Nothing Was the Same, Drake stopped like focusing on cohesive projects. And I think that came from him losing the Grammy to Macklemore. Macklemore shouldn't have won that fucking Grammy. It was Heat that came out that year. Macklemore shouldn't even have been on the list, if we being honest. But it seemed like after that, Drake stopped chasing like that complete album sound. And then this is when his album started turning into like big playlists. If you read and This Is Too Late, I'm not counting With a Time to Be Alive, because that album sounds like Future. It sounds like a Future album, and Drake just threw his verses on there. But then you got Views. Niggas love Views. Niggas love Views. There's songs on here that I love, like Fire Desire, Views, Western Road Flows. That might be my favorite Drake song. That Mary J. Blige sample with that hard ass kick, yeah. that's one of the ones, man. What album is Jungle on? Oh, Jungle's on If You're Reading This Is Too Late. But then after Views, it was More Life, which he called a playlist. At this point, he was just calling stuff a playlist. And then this is where it starts to get into what my theory. Drake makes so much different kinds of music and different genres that you're not gonna like every Drake song unless you're a Drake fan. You're not gonna like every single song because Drake doesn't specify in one genre. He does a multitude of genres on an album, which I'm not mad at again. And then after that is Scorpion, which I actually liked. I liked the idea that he did with Scorpion, like the first disc being straight rap. He was like, okay, niggas want me to make a rap album. Okay, the first half of it being straight rap, and then the second half was more of the R&B pop Drake. But that first half, nigga, there's some bangers on that first half. And Care Package isn't that was a mixtape shit. I didn't like Dark Lane demos tapes. It's hits on here though, but I ain't like it that much. And Certified Lover Boy, which is another favorite album of mine from Drake. I like Certified Lover Boy. I like Champagne Poetry, Poppy Song, Girls Want Girls, Love All, Fair Trade, even though I still think Travis Scott shouldn't have been on that song. TSU, Pipe Down, man. Oh my, that beat is stupid. I was in love with that song when it first came out. And then you got 7 a.m. on Bridal Path, and then Remorse that I like, and You Only Live Twice. That beat is fire as well. Get Along Better with Ty Dolla $ign is also a good record. But then you got Honestly Nevermind, which was a house album. And then Her Loss, which was 21 Savage and him. I don't count that. And then For All the Dogs. I didn't like For All the Dogs. I didn't like it. I still stand on that. I didn't really like that album. But and then after that, it's Some Sexy Songs for You. But it seemed like after he lost that Grammy with Nothing Was the Same, it seemed like Drake was just like, you know what? And then this was streaming also came into play too. I think Drake was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, they not giving me album Grammys. I'ma just make a bunch of music to put it on the album. Because Nothing Was the Same has a theme to it. Take Care has a theme to it. Views also has a theme to it. Views flows, like sequence wise, Views flow perfectly as well. But it seemed like after Nothing Was the Same and he lost that Grammy to Macklemore, it just seemed like he was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, they not giving me that Grammy. They not giving me that Grammy. Fuck it. I'ma just do what I gotta do. But that's my theory with Drake, is that as far as the whole culture, he doesn't specify in one thing. So it's gonna be songs that everybody doesn't like. So I think that's why people don't give Drake that definitive classic. And I might get a lot of like hate for this, and I don't care. But I don't think Drake has a definitive classic. I think he has a great album, which is this, another good to great album with Nothing Was the Same, a good album with Thank Me Later, and then everything else after. Well, another good album with Certified Lover Boy. Views, it's whatever with Views, but Drake has a good catalog full of a bunch of big songs, a bunch of hits. He's mainly a hit maker, but when it comes to the albums don't be as strong because he makes so much different types of music. So you're not gonna like everything that he does unless you're a heavy Drake fan. Into the whole culture, they might not like that. So that's my opinion on whether Drake has that definitive classic or not. I still think he can have a definitive classic. I think the song, the album he had with Party shouldn't have came out. After the whole beef or whatever, Drake should have took like a year or two break, made music during that time, and then just came out with a straight banger. I think that's what he should have did. He should have came back with like a classic, and everybody would have loved it. Everybody would have forgot about everything that was in the diss records. So does Drake have a definitive classic? In my opinion, no, but he has great albums. The reason why people probably feel like this is always a debate is because he makes so much different types of music. So that's my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But it's been another video from the Dean of Music. See y'all next time.